Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is Wheelie Dan here, and if you're new here, then welcome. If you're not new here, then welcome back. But for today's video, I thought I would do a very open, a very honest chat with you guys about mental health, because I do believe it is an important subject to talk about, and everybody like skirts around the issue. They don't really talk about it. Like, let's be honest, if somebody says, "How are you today?" we all, I don't care who you are, we all turn around and go, "Oh, I'm okay," even if we're not, because we don't want to, we don't want to lay our problems on somebody else or feel like our problems are pathetic and a bit silly. So I am going to do an honest and open chat with you guys about mental health, because as I said, I do think it's an important subject to talk about, and nobody really talks about it. So I'm gonna get rid of the stigma and just have a sit down chat with you guys, because not many of you know on my channel, but I do actually suffer with mental health issues myself. I have done since I was about the age of 18, and I will go into why in a minute, but I have suffered with them since I was 17, and they are a thing that will keep popping up in my life. Like, my mental health issues will never fully be recovered. They will never fully disappear, and I'll explain why in a minute. So basically, my mental health issues came from a surgery that I had when I was 17 years of age. Basically, I had a spinal surgery when I was 17, back in 2014. And because it was so traumatic, because it was such a lengthy surgery, because it was so traumatic, it left me with so many mental health issues. I ended up with low self-esteem, low confidence, and lots of mental health issues. I had talking therapies, I had CBT, I was given coping mechanisms and all of that kind of thing, and to a degree they do work. I'm not going to say they don't, because what works for me might not work for the next person. So they worked for me, but the thing is, with my type of mental health problems, because of what they are triggered by, my mental health problems will never fully disappear. Like, they will never fully go. Like, they're there for life now, just because my mental health is often triggered by hospitals, doctors, surgeries, appointments, and all that kind of thing. So because of my condition, as you can imagine, I'm in and out of hospitals and in and out of doctors quite a lot of the time. So because of that, my anxiety is triggered quite a fair bit. And because of that reason, because that'll always be a part of my life, my mental health issues will never fully go. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, today I'm not doing very well, and there is a reason for that, and I'm going to tell you that now, but there is a reason for that. And that reason is, basically, I'm not going to see my fiance now for about 2 weeks as of Sunday. Now, I'm not going to go into why, because that's our business, that's family business. But basically, we're not going to see each other now for at least a fortnight. And for me, that's quite a major thing, because anybody with anxiety will understand what I'm about to say. But basically, when you have anxiety and you get attached to a person, or certainly in my case anyway, when I get attached to a person, like really attached to that person, and I start to spend a lot of time with that person, I spend a lot of my time with that person, I have daily conversations with that person. Once that person is no longer a dominant part in my life for however long period of time, my brain then starts to think of the worst case scenario. For example, my husband to be, my fiance, has been a key worker during the pandemic, since it began, really. So now, obviously, when I spend time away from him for 2 weeks, like I'm about to, my brain automatically goes to the worst case scenario. So he could be at work and I'm like, well, what if he has an accident and I never have a chance to say I love him anymore? What if he dies and I'm not there? What if something happens to his family and I'm not there? What happens if he has a mental, mental health crisis and I'm not there? Which he has no mental health issues whatsoever, so I don't even know why my brain makes me think like that. But these are the types of things that it makes me think. And to some people with anxiety that think like that, some people think, well, that's just over exaggerating. Which to a degree, I understand where you're coming from. Like, it is over exaggerating, but what you've got to understand is that if someone's anxiety affects them like that, they're not choosing to think like that. It's not a choice for them to think like that. Their brain automatically goes to the worst case scenario, like I said before. So my brain is now going, well, you're not going to see your fiance for a fortnight, so he might die and you won't be able to say you love him anymore. Or he could have an accident at work and you won't be able to get to the hospital to see him. Or he could have a motorbike accident, because he does have a motorbike, and something could happen and you won't be there. Like, and often, like, he will like often reassure me and go, nothing's gonna happen, I'll be fine, go and do what you need to do, I'll be fine, it's only 2 weeks. But then in my head, I know he's telling me the truth, because I know that, that it's a very low likelihood that any of those scenarios could possibly happen. But in my head, it's like as clear as day, and if they did, I'd be distraught. And because my fiance, to me, because of my anxiety, is almost like a comfort blanket would be to a baby, if you like. So because I'm that attached to him, because I'm so used to spending so much time with him, the thought of not being around him for a fortnight, for 2 weeks, it is daunting to my brain. Not so much to me as a physical person, but to my brain now. My brain's going, how are you going to cope? What are you going to do? He's not there anymore to, like, be your comfort blanket, because it's not like, he may be my comfort blanket emotionally, but he's not like a baby's comfort blanket where you can take him wherever you go. You can't just pick him up and drop him, that's not what you do with a person. And I do understand that my fiance has his own life, and vice versa. My fiance understands that with me, that I have my own family life, he has his own family life. So we don't suffocate each other like that. But my brain now, because I'm not going to be with him for I know it's like, when I say so long, to some people 2 weeks isn't a long period of time, but anybody with anxiety will understand what I'm about to say, right? Like, for somebody with anxiety, 2 weeks feels like an eternity. We feel like it's going to last forever, like the time's just going to drag. And I don't think that people understand the severity of anxiety and what it can do to a person's brain, what it can do to a person's personality. I don't think people understand what anxiety can do to you, because even now sometimes my parents go, but it's only a fortnight, you'll be fine, you'll be okay, everything's going to be okay, nothing's going to happen in such a short period of time. But in my head I'm like, but what if it does? What if it does? And then if that said thing happens, then I will sit and blame myself for weeks, months, years, because I weren't there to protect him from it, even though he's a fully grown man and he's 37. But I've had anxiety, like I said, since I was 17, and sometimes it can get very debilitating. Like, sometimes it can take over my life. Like, I can sit there at night and nothing will have been wrong. I'll have had a good day during the day, I'll have found things to do, I'll have spent time with my family, spent time with my fiance, or whatever I was doing that day, had a really good day, and then nighttime comes and oh my god, like, the overthinking starts, like, I start thinking of scenarios in my head that I know 100%, or at least 99.9% would never happen. Like, like, what if my family dies? What if my sister dies? What if my niece dies? What if one of us ends up in hospital? And it can debilitate your life. Like, I went through a phase with my anxiety where I I was bad. Like during the lockdown months, you know, when Boris Johnson decided to put the country on lockdown, I was so bad. Like I would ring my fiance at night time, like at 9, 10 o'clock before I went to sleep, and he would stay on the phone to me till about 5 a.m. that morning, because I would actually sit there and say to him, I don't want to go to sleep because I'm afraid that corona's going to get me and I'm going to die. Now, it's been 2.5 years, oh no, just over 2 years, and it's since the pandemic began. And touch wood, I don't want to jinx anything, but I've not had corona. I've had both my vaccines and I've not ended up poorly with corona. So, and just a quick disclaimer, if anybody has had COVID, I'm so sorry. If you've lost anyone from COVID, I am so sorry. But I've been lucky enough not to catch COVID, and so's my family. So in that respect, I'm very blessed. But during that first couple of months of lockdown, like I wasn't allowed to see my fiance for 6 weeks, and that literally really affected me mentally, because like I said, my fiance is my comfort blanket. So I was keeping him up till 5 o'clock in the morning, telling him that I didn't want to go to bed. I didn't want to go to sleep because I was scared that corona was going to come and catch me and I was going to die. And obviously my fiance is a key worker, so then I used to go to bed and I used to think, well, what if he catches corona and then he dies and I never get to see him again and I have to go and visit his funeral and things. Like my intrusive thoughts, because that's what anxiety can cause, is stupid intrusive thoughts, was so bad. They were so bad, and I was like, why am I even thinking like this? But when you have anxiety, and when you have mental health issues, it's not, I've tried opening up to people before, and some of them have just gone, well, that's stupid. Really that most of the time, none of those things are ever going to happen, and your friends and family will be fine. Yes, in my heart of hearts, I know that is true, but mentally in my brain makes me think the worst case scenario, like I've said before. And sometimes people don't understand that, I've been, even back when I've gone to talking therapies and stuff, they're like, well, just try and do things to take your mind off things. And I'm like, I do that. I do that every day. But it doesn't always work. Like, it doesn't always cure my mental health, to be fair. Like, and people are like, well, it's alright, you'll just get better. But sometimes most of the time, with mental health, you don't actually get better. You just learn to deal with your mental health in a better way. So most of the time with mental health, like I said, you don't actually get fully better. You just learn to deal with your mental health in a better way for you and a better way for your family. Because like I said before, there has been stages when my mental health has taken over my life. My family have took me to the doctor with my mental health. They've took me to talking therapy, CBT with my mental health. But even now, I think that mental health is a subject that, like I said, nobody really wants to speak about, because as soon as you speak about mental health, like, there is a stigma that, oh my god, you're a psycho, you're a lunatic, you belong in the loony bin, or so to speak. And that's not the case at all. Most people that have mental health issues, whatever that may be, like anxiety, depression, PTSD, schizophrenia, split personality, most of them people have a reason why they've ended up with that condition. It's not just a condition that they thought up one day and thought, do you know what, I'm going to have that today, bang, and then they have it. Most of the time there is a story behind why that person has that particular condition or conditions, because if you're like me, you'll have multiple. But there is a big stigma that, in my opinion, really needs to go, because when my mental health was at its worst, I was so scared of telling anyone. Like, when I was at the age of 17, and I was in that hospital bed, and I was in intensive care, and I was having all this surgery, like, my head was up my arse. so to speak. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really want to be here. I didn't want to fight anymore. I didn't want to go through any of this anymore. And I didn't know what to do. Like, I was sat in a hospital bed and it was really bad. And I never, like, to be honest, I never told my family how bad that surgery actually affected me. And I don't think to this day they even still know that. Because obviously it's over and done with now, and people think you get over it, which is right. To a degree, you always do. But then I get up in the morning and I see those scars all over my body, and it brings it right back to me. And there's like all of my surgeries that I've had in the past, like, I remember them day by day. So like, I'll remember, like, so my spinal surgery I had on the 11th of February. So when the 11th of February comes around, like, that day for me is really difficult. But so yeah, like I said, mental health is a bit of an odd subject for a lot of people, but I think it does need talking about, because at some point, I don't care whether you're the queen or you are the, you could be the queen of the world, right, and you'd still suffer with mental health problems. Everybody does at some point. We all have. I have. Your mum and dad probably have. It's just that we don't talk about it because everybody doesn't talk about it, because it's a taboo subject, so to speak. So it's a bit of a hard one to, well, yeah, it's just hard to talk about. You know, I know I've suffered with mental health. You, as you're probably watching this, you've suffered with mental health, but I haven't really seen many people talk about it openly online. I mean, there is a girl that I do actually follow on YouTube called Makeup Junkie G, and she has spoken openly about her mental health on her channel. So if you want to go and check her out, then that's fine. Like I said, her name on YouTube, it did used to be Makeup Junkie G, but is now Georgia Ranking because she's changed it. So if you want to go and check her out, that's fine. But I just want to do this chat today because, like I said, mental health is a difficult situation for everyone. We've all been through it at some point. Like, you can deny it all you like, but we've all been through mental health at some point. And to be fair, the stigma needs to go, because it's a stigma that shouldn't even exist, in my opinion. Like, I know people that have suffered in silence, and that shouldn't be the case. You shouldn't have to suffer in silence with your mental health because you're scared of what other people are going to think, or what, you know, people that don't even know you think. And to be fair, I think social media doesn't make that any easier these days, because when I was a child, like when I was, you know, growing up as a kid, we didn't have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat or anything like that. We were just out playing in the mud and, you know, out playing in the sunshine. And God forbid, my dad, when it was sunny when I was growing up, and my mum, God forbid, they'd catch me in the house. God, they'd shove me out. Then shove me outside and go and enjoy the sun. But obviously, like, now, with the generation we're in, where there's YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok and all those kind of things, there is a kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, like a wall up that everybody thinks they should look this way, everybody thinks they should feel this way, everybody thinks they should do this, everybody thinks they should do that, because that's what everybody else does. And most of the time that can really affect your mental health. Like, I did go through a stage where I sat there and thought, well, I don't look like that woman on Instagram, or I don't look like that, or I'm not that skinny, and I don't look like that. Like, I've got scars all over my body, and it really did affect me, and it still does, to be fair. But I'm just here to tell you that if you're ever struggling with mental health, do not be afraid to speak out. Like, it is, I know people get scared about it, and I was at first. When I actually first told someone about my mental health, it actually petrified me. But if you are struggling with mental health, or you have done in the past, and you can feel yourself kind of going on a downward spiral, do not be scared of speaking out, because I know it's hard to do, and believe you me, I've been in your shoes. If you are struggling right now and you're finding it hard, but do not be scared of speaking out to someone. It's not a taboo subject, and I think even with a lot of adults, like now they'll go, I'm not talking about my mental health because I've been brought up in that generation where you basically put up and shut up. And I've seen it in I'm not going to disclose why, but I have seen it in my own friends and my own family where I've seen them struggle and they won't actually ask for help because they've been brought up in that generation of put up and shut up. Which, to be fair, that shouldn't even be a thing. If you're struggling, you're struggling. Like, if you broke your arm, you'd go to the hospital and get it fixed. So why not do the same with your mental health? You know, I'm not saying, you know, if you have a broken arm, like I said, you go to the hospital and you get it fixed. Or if you broke your leg, you go to the hospital, get it fixed. Or if you needed to go to the doctors because of your health, you'd go to the doctors and they'd give you like they'd give you antibiotics or medicine to fix you. So why is it such a big deal with mental health? Why is it so much harder to go to the doctors and ask for mental health support? Why is it such a different subject? Why are we all classed as, I don't know, psychos, weirdos and nutcases as soon as we ask for mental health support? Because we shouldn't be, and you shouldn't be. And I just think that in this day and age now, people need to understand that struggling with your mental health is just as much as an issue as breaking your arm or your leg or your finger. Like, it is just as common. Like most men and women in the UK at some point in their life, or around the world for that fact, because I know all of my followers probably won't be from the UK, but most of the people around the world have suffered mental health, and most of them will have suffered in silence because they're too scared to get help. And yeah, like I said, I just don't think that should be the issue. And some of you are going to think, well, why have you even done this video today? And to be honest, I wasn't even going to, but I think it needs talking about, because I haven't seen many YouTubers other than Georgia Rankin, like I said, which I did say you can go and check her out, speak about it on a YouTube. Like, I've never seen any videos where somebody's openly talked about their mental health. So I'm going to join Georgia Rankin and I'm going to do this video because I think it's important. Like, just because you are in a high paid job, or just because you are, you know, always seen as the happy person, always seen as the happy-go-lucky person, always seen as the life and soul of the party, doesn't actually mean you're not struggling. Like, everybody struggles. And like I said, I just don't see why mental health cannot be seen as the same as, you know, breaking your arm or your leg or your finger. It's just that it's in your head and not physically on your body. So is it that because we can't see it that people think it's not there? Is it because there's no physical marks on your body that people think is not there? Is it because there's no physical scars, there's no physical evidence of it being there, that people just generally believe it's not there? Or am I missing the point? Like I said, I did say this was going to be open and honest, and it has been, and this is what my channel is basically going to be. I am not going to bullshit for any of my subscribers. I will give you it as it comes, and I will say it how it is. And if anybody gets offended by this video, I am sorry, but I think it's like something that needs talking about. Like, mental health shouldn't be hidden away anymore. Like, you shouldn't hide it away anymore. Like, I'm not saying go around and parade it around and say, oh well, I've got da 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 da. That's not what I'm saying. Like, what I am saying though is, if you are struggling, like, don't suffer in silence just because of what your family might think, or your friends might think, or people on social media might think, because at the end of the day, it isn't them that's struggling. They're not in the same situation as you. Like, you know, and you have a right to get help. You have a right to feel like your old self again. You have a right to get the help that you need. And I am aware that mental health services are struggling right now because obviously there's a lockdown and there's been a spike in people with anxiety and depression and PTSD and things like that. So there is a bit of a backlog. But even if you have to wait, like, surely waiting is better than not telling anyone. And you know, even if you don't want to go down the official channels of, you know, therapies or admitting yourself to a mental health hospital or anything like that, even if you don't want to go that far, at least talk to a friend or your mum or your dad or someone in your family that you can trust, just so you're not going through this stuff on your own. Like like I said, I'm not doing too well at the moment because I do know that I have to leave my fiance for a fortnight, and that's going to do my head in, and it already is. Like, I can feel it setting in already. But I know that if I ever had a, you know, a nasty turn, or I had a mental health dip, then I know he's there for me. Like, I can pick up the phone, he'll come round my house, he'll, you know, I've got that support. And just because you're finding it hard doesn't mean that it's something that you shouldn't do. Like, I know that getting help is probably, especially for your mental health, getting help is probably one of the first but hardest steps that you will ever take. Once you take that first step in getting help, the rest of it seems like, I'm not going to say it's a breeze, because it's definitely not. It's not like a walk in the park, but it's a lot easier than your first step in getting help. Like, that is the truth. And like I said, I don't bullshit on this channel. I will just tell my subscribers and anyone that comes across this the truth. Like, it will be the hardest step for you to get help if you need it. I'm not saying everybody who watches this video will need help, but if you are watching this video and you do need help, or you feel like you're dipping and you need help, getting the help and speaking up and coming forward about that help will be the hardest thing you ever do. But believe you me, when you do, you'll feel like a weight's been lifted off your shoulders, and you'll finally feel like you're going in the right direction. I'm not saying everything after that, like I said before, is going to be a walk in the park, because I know for a fact it won't, because I've been there and done that. But it will seem a lot easier than your first step of getting help. And obviously, like I said, go and talk to a friend, go and talk to your family, your mum, your dad, your sisters, your brothers, or anybody that you trust, even a teacher, or you know, or a college tutor if you go to college. And what a lot of people don't know, and I'm going to tell you this now, that if you are, and I'm going to tell you this now because obviously I had it when I was going to college, but if you're out of college age, so you're like 16, 18, 24, or anything like that, and you are currently studying in a college or university, your college more than likely will have a welfare team, and they will have, you know, like dedicated staff that are there to help with your mental health and your studies at the same time. So if you're finding that your studies is really impacting on your mental health, and you feel like you need some help but you don't know where to go, and I'm gonna tell you this because I've been there and done it myself, more than likely 99% of colleges do have a dedicated welfare team that will help you deal with the stresses of studying, and help you with your mental health during your college years if you need it. So yeah, but I'm going to bring this video to an end here because I think I've told you enough. But like I said, if you are struggling with your mental health, then do go and ask somebody. It's not a taboo subject. Well, I don't think it should be anyway. But it's not a taboo subject. You're not being weak. You're not giving up. You're just getting the help you need. So if you are needing help, I suggest you get it. And I know it seems like a daunting thing to do, but go and do it because it'll be the best thing you ever do, believe me. And I will see you in the next video. And if you stuck around that long, then please like and subscribe to this video. And don't forget to click the notification bell, because then you'll be notified when I next upload a video straight away before anybody else. So I will see you in my next video, and bye.